Hi everyone, today we are comparing the OnePlus 9 to the OnePlus 10 Pro. Now, there are a lot of similarities, but one thing that I will straight away have to say is that the OnePlus 9 comes with a 2x zoom because it's the OnePlus 9 and not the OnePlus 9 Pro. And of course, the OnePlus 10 Pro does come with a 3.3x zoom. And also one thing that I will have to say is that in low light, for instance, the OnePlus 9 definitely takes longer. Anyway, let's find out which one performs better in daytime and of course in low light as well. So here we go, let's begin with the main sensor. In this first shot we can already see a pretty clear difference in color. Look especially at the bricks on the OnePlus 9, feeling more flat because of having less contrast. But the main takeaway is that the colors are closer to reality on the OnePlus 10 Pro, albeit a bit too warm, which is something you can see with this second shot as well. Basically the OnePlus 10 feels warmer and it does look like it has more details and of course has a bit more sharpening going on as well. But honestly, with these two shots, not by a lot. Now both of these shots are great, both of them have great depth of field and of course plenty of details. But the color on the OnePlus 10 Pro again is slightly closer to reality, with just a tad of pink inside that flower, where the OnePlus 9 looks a little bit too white compared to what it was in reality. Remember that warm tone we saw on the building? Well, it makes a return here for the OnePlus 10 Pro, and I have to say, I'm not a fan of it here. It makes the grass and the bushes look off, not how it was in reality. You can see a big difference in brightness in the sky as well, and of course a bit more sharpening going on with the OnePlus 10 Pro. You can clearly see it when you are looking closer at the statue. For the close-up of this flower, I think again the warm doesn't do it justice. It doesn't look as nice, but both of them have amazing details, and I think both of them have great depth of field here again. But there's a little artifact thing going on with that flower on the right. Of course, this is nitpicking, but this is what these comparisons are for. With this fountain again, you can see a big difference in both of these shots. Both have good details and good dynamic range, but you can clearly see next to colors that the bottom side here of the fountain is quite a bit brighter on the OnePlus 10 Pro. But I do like keeping some shadows here as well, like we have on the OnePlus 9. But the OnePlus 9 is pretty far off when it comes to the colors, even though the OnePlus 10 Pro is a bit too warm again for this shot. I want to see that difference in sharpening again, because this is a great example. You can clearly see that the OnePlus 10 Pro does like to sharpen things up. A little bit too much, especially in this shot if you ask me, where the OnePlus 9 is a bit too soft. It would be great to see it somewhere in between these two. Between these two, the same trend you will keep seeing with at least the main sensor, where the OnePlus 10 Pro does definitely have some artificial sharpening compared to the OnePlus 9, but it also looks warmer. But if you look past that, unless the images are right, I would say that the OnePlus 10 Pro is a little bit more color accurate between the two. Here are some more shots with some music so you can check it out, and of course we do have some great shots in the church as well this time. Time for the Ultrawide and its performance during daytime. Let's start with the inside of the church that has some beautiful styling. Straight away you can see some standout differences between these two. Look at the pillar for instance, a different color. But of course the ceiling lights as well. I would like to say it is better on the OnePlus 9, where the OnePlus 10 Pro looks like it has better dynamic range. But I can tell you, those lights didn't look like that. It had the reflection like you see on the OnePlus 9. At my city's train station with the Ultrawide, I will have to say that I think the OnePlus 10 Pro looks too bright for my taste. And also not really how it was, even less so with this kind of weather. Now back at this styleful building. I would say that the OnePlus 9 has a bit too much contrast, where the OnePlus 10 Pro again goes for this brighter shot. I would love to see it somewhere in between in this case. Now remember the grass with the statue that was too warm with the main sensor on the OnePlus 10 Pro? Well, with the ultrawide it goes for a shot that is far closer to reality, albeit a bit brighter than it should be. Again though, the grass looked a bit closer to what we see on the OnePlus 9, albeit again a bit too much contrast here. And honestly, this brighter trend you will keep seeing coming back with the OnePlus 10 Pro, which doesn't have my preference overall. But seeing how people like brighter images somehow, I guess it makes sense that they are doing this. But for myself, I like a bit more contrast from time to time, especially during weather like this, where the OnePlus 9 just looks a bit better for me, but also sometimes a bit too much contrast. Either way, it's a mix between these two when it comes to ultrawide, where I feel like one performs better with one shot and the other performs better with the other. Now with low light, I'm gonna do it a little bit different. I'm gonna show you results that I've taken with these images and let you judge yourself a little bit as well here. The one thing that I will have to say is that the OnePlus 9 definitely takes longer to process these images. The moment that you click the camera, it takes about 4 or 5 seconds, where in the OnePlus 10 Pro it takes about 2 to 3 seconds. It's definitely noticeable, and on the OnePlus 9 it's definitely in the center of the screen as well. When it comes to the OnePlus 9, I will also say that it sometimes had issues focusing. You will see some shots where it's just not perfectly in focus. When it comes to the OnePlus 10 Pro, sometimes it goes for a too bright shot that doesn't look natural for low light photography for myself. Okay, 4K low light recording. It's a very different profile. I would say that the OnePlus 9 goes a little bit too yellow. The OnePlus 10 goes too white, too cold. Looks more grainy as well on the OnePlus 10, but too soft on the 9. Also far more zoomed in on the 10. 4K 60 frames. Okay, both recording in 1080p. Same principle right there. Funny enough, on the phone itself, seems the OnePlus 10 is stuttering a little bit more. The 9 is a lot smoother. The 10 is also zoomed in more. But on the phone itself, it's also juddering more. OnePlus 9, however, has too much saturation compared to how it is. OnePlus 10 gets really close. So, at the end, how do they stack up together? I will have to say that the OnePlus 10 is an improvement. It's not a huge improvement though. There are some things OnePlus still needs to work at. I don't think they are the best when it comes to the camera, but they are slightly improving. For one, I do think that colors are getting better when it comes to the OnePlus 10, where sometimes the OnePlus 9 could have this filter-like look, which didn't make much sense. But in color realism, it does seem to get better with the OnePlus 10 Pro. But at the end, I don't think there is a huge upgrade. So if you are on the OnePlus 9, of course, and you think, I need to get the OnePlus 10 for the better camera, honestly, the OnePlus 9 still does a fine job. Apart from, of course, in low light, definitely taking longer than the OnePlus 10 Pro. Either way, let me know what you think and which one you prefer at the end when it comes to the cameras of both of these, and of course just in general, which one you prefer out of these two. If you do want to see a comparison which I think is better out of these two, let me know in the comments below. I might be working on that one. I have to think about it a little bit. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this video and talk to you guys in the next.